आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़, की आवाज़।
A big hello to all our listeners. Welcome to an enriching podcast series, Vigyan Ki Awaaz. This podcast series focuses on STEM popularization, science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medicine. An initiative to promote STEM, science, technology, engineering, medicine and mathematics. Taking ahead the journey, we are bringing to you yet another enriching conversation with another eminent guest in the field of science and technology. With us today, we have
All right. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Narendra Kumar Mehra. But one very great incident happened that happened. I must mention about that to our listeners. During the time when I was writing this article, of course, 2020, 2021 and 22, my whole focus was on COVID and the host community. I was appearing in a lot of TV channels, newspapers, the reports and things of that sort. So, I was walking around my house. Of course, those were the days when you had lockdowns and all that. Walking around my house and there were construction workers there. I thought I will ask them, what is the way out? So I asked them, because we are going through a very tough time. What do you think? How will we come out of it? What will be the way out? Of course, most people will remain quiet. They don't speak a word. But one guy had the courage to tell me, he said, sir, the answer will come from science. Oh my God, that opened my eyes. I said, look, we have to do something to connect science to society. We might be doing any amount of science inside our laboratories or inside our doors. Unless it gets out, unless the common man sees, common man should not see scientists as somebody who has come from the moon, or these are different kind of people. We are also very simple people. We also are common people like everybody else. But there's a need to connect science to society. So you saw, as I mentioned to you, one of the sub-themes of the Science 20 that we developed, and 2022 was the time when we had to finalize our theme for the Science 20. We put science for society as one of the sub-themes. And I'm so very happy that now everybody is talking about science for society. I used to have a lot of discussions with my UK counterparts, and they were also doing discussions in their own country of something called citizen science. So citizen science or science for society, I think this is the other aspect that every scientist of the country needs to know, that they have to connect to the common man. Common man must understand what kind of science are we doing. They should not feel that scientists get paid or they get a lot of money for the research. By the way, the money for research in India has never been that good as our counterparts in the West, but it is improving now. I'm sure it will improve even more in times to come. But during my time, when I was doing the 78 active research on the bench, you used to have very less money. But when we had to, compete with the best in the world and get grants from outside, if we do not have that level of funding within India, who stops us to compete with the best in the world and get funding from outside? And I was able to get that, and many other people in India. There are now Of course, very important scientists, young scientists I'm very proud of. Some of them are doing extremely well. And my job at this stage of my career is to mentor them, to sort of advise them to go more forward and get into that. Because science, every day you learn something new. So this was a very impactful experience that I had of this guy. I think science finding at a construction labor who's uneducated, he could come out with this kind of a statement. And I think the kind of work that you are doing now, you are actually propagating this particular dialogue to the common man. It is something that we need to do on a much larger scale. We need to educate our people, and because there are quite a few things that we do may not be understandable to the common man, but I think we have to find ways and means to teach them. So, but promotion of science within India is the other hallmark of what INSA does.
So, my next question to you is, which field you have been working on and how is that contributing to India?
So my own field has been, as I said, transplant immunology. That is one field. What are the factors which impact the success of an organ graft? Whether it's the kidney transplant or liver transplant or a heart transplant or even stem cell transplantation. Are the laboratory-based markers that we need to understand, immunological markers, or what we now call molecular markers as well, which impact the success of a graft. Because after all, our aim is to make sure that the kidney that we put in somebody should function. So we sort of make a team. A kidney transplant, like any other organ transplant, is a team of a nephrologist on one hand who diagnoses, surgeon who puts the graft, immunologist like me who sort of finds out day in and day out new tools of making sure at the pre-transplant stage and at the post-transplant stage whether graft. So we have achieved a lot. You ask me, where are we placed internationally? Very much we are part of the cutting edge science all over the world. We do about 10 to 12,000 kidney transplants in India, which is still a very small number though. We need to do about 100,000 transplants in India. So we need to really go into that. We have more than 500 transplant centers now in India. When we started, there used to be handful, only about 5 or 6 centers around the country in the 70s and 80s. But today it is huge number, and the number is even growing more in the private sector as well. So that's one area that I do, and when we take part in the international conferences, we are able to make an impact as anybody else does it around the world. So the success story has been very great, but there is always something new to learn every day, because the goal is always to make sure that the graft functions for a longer time. Now, I'll give you an example of a 25-year-old young man who needs a kidney transplant. Unless we do all these tests, unless we do all these discoveries, and his graft say fails in 3 years' time, he needs a second transplant, a third transplant. That is the kind of situation that has to be avoided. So those are the kind of things that we do. The other component that I do is working on what is called clinical immunogenetics, looking at biomarkers of diseases. We have done a lot of studies on spondylitis, on diabetes, on tuberculosis, on many other diseases as well, where we are not only trying to understand the immunological basis of the disease there, which will help in later on in understanding to make a vaccine or develop new treatment strategies, but also if we could hit a marker, who are the people who are more likely to develop this disease in the family. And my current interest is also on developing immunotherapy for cancer. For example, rather than importing immunotherapeutic products from outside, I'm actually mentoring a startup company, so that we can manufacture our own immunotherapy products in India. These are, you would have heard, CAR T cells, but our company is focusing more on natural killer cells and gamma delta T cells for various types of cancer. So these are my own fields. We try our best to compete with the best in the world, but there is a whole lot of more things to learn about.
Sir, please do share with us how is this contributing to the growth and development of India?
Oh yes, there was a time when for bone marrow transplantation, the 80s and 90s, for somebody with a patient with aplastic anemia or leukemia had to go out of India to get a transplant done, and used to spend about 3 to 4 crores. At that time, as I said, I went to Seattle in 1986. That was the best bone marrow transplant center in the world. Even there, during the time when I was there, a lot of rich patients used to come over there to have their transplant done, and then go back. That has reversed totally. Now, not only for organ transplant, we do every organ transplant in India now. And I would urge everybody to get the transplant done in India. You don't have to go anywhere else. We do a better job than anybody else does around the world. We similarly do the bone marrow transplant. Of course, we now don't call it as a bone marrow transplant. We call it as a hematopoietic stem cell transplant, HSCT, because the stem cells can be taken not only from the marrow but from other sources as well. The situation we are not doing too well is the cadaver donor program. At the moment, most of the kidney transplants that we do in India are coming from live related donors, parents, siblings, grandparents, or the spouses actually. Most of the other parts of the world, they do quite a lot of diseased donor transplants, or what we call cadaver donor transplants. Somebody who meets, unfortunately, a road traffic accident, a young fellow meets with a road traffic accident, and he has a beating heart because brain dead, and we couldn't take organs from this particular individual. So this is some area that we need to really improve on. We are not doing that well, because our colleagues in South India are doing very, very well, better than any other part of the country. But there is a scope to improve that even more, because we actually are losing many organs that unfortunately that could actually be harvested because of unfortunate road traffic accident. But this guy could become a multi-organ donor for us, to give all donors all kinds of organs for transplantation. So this is my area, and we are research and development, and we are doing fairly well, because there is always a scope for improvement. We need to know our deficiencies, our weaknesses, and we need to improve on that.
How would you like to share about India's ranking in this field?
Oh, well, I don't think there is any international body that ranks countries like this in terms of their organ transplant. But what we can say is that from the conferences that we have the Indian Society of Organ Transplant, we meet every year, and there are scientists who come from all over the world, US, Europe, and everywhere. All of them praise India a lot. So with that kind of praises that we hear from them, and the praises that come from them is actually from heart, because they do see, they visit centers and all that. They see that India is on the rise, at least in South Asia or Southeast Asia. This is the upcoming country. And I would say that if you put a scale of 10, we are there in the scale of 10.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We would also like to know from you, what is the future in this particular field?
Future is bright. There are a few deficiencies that we have to fulfill. As I said, we are doing maybe 12,000 kidney transplants a year, maybe about 3,000 to 4,000 transplants of heart, and that many number also for liver. This number has to increase. We need about 125,000 kidney transplants in India. And, this can increase through improving on our efforts for the credible donor transplant. The government of India has already made what is called NATO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, which actually connects all transplant centers around the world, helps in transporting organs from one part to the other. And then we need to make a sort of database of people who need an organ transplant, so that we can exchange well-matched kidney transplant grafts, not only kidney but other organs also. I keep saying kidney because kidney is the most common organ that we transplant. The idea is to ship around well-matched transplant. It's not only well-matched for the blood groups, but well-matched from the HLA point of view. The better the HLA match grade, the greater the chances for this graft to stay longer. And this is something that we need to improve, and I think NATO would help us a lot in that direction, but there's still a long way to go. So we are doing 1/10 of the number that we require, ideally for a nation of that size as India is. But this is a problem not only just in India, everybody else. None of the countries fulfill all the requirements. Europe has done well. They have created a Eurotransplant organization. So, Europe is like the Indian subcontinent, you can say. That various countries in Europe got together. Here also we need to, all these 500 transplant centers in India, or 500 odd transplant centers in India, have to get together and make sure that they can exchange the kidneys, so that the well-matched kidneys are transplanted and systems are in place over there. At the same time, we need to keep on developing new technologies, cutting-edge technologies, state-of-the-art technologies for donor selection, matching the requirements, antibodies. So all of those things are being done. We need to train a lot of people. Training, because it's a huge country, and we need trained manpower. That is still not up to the mark. So these are the kind of things that we are doing, but we are doing fairly well.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm sure you have such a big journey of all full of success stories and innovative steps, and yet this journey has been so fulfilling. But we, on behalf of the listeners, would like to ask you, in your entire journey from the beginning till date, please share a few of your success stories where you really felt that life is so worth, and we have contributed to the country's colors while we are working in the field of science.
Yes, I feel very satisfied, very happy. And as I said, when I started in the mid-70s, there was nothing, virtually nothing there. And my success story is that when I went to international arena, as I said, I first time went to Paris in 1976. There are people there to help you. There are people who recognize you. And the message is sincerity in science and your commitment actually pays you. And as I said, I've got all the highest awards for science in India. I didn't have to go to anybody and say that please award me this. I just quietly put my application, and the awards will come. The only award I haven't got so far is the Padma award, but who knows? Sometimes it will come. People will recognize your contributions there. So my success story is starting from zero. And today we are competing with the best of the world, the best in the world. And this is a great success story. For me, very fulfilling personally, that we started from nothing, and now almost everybody around the world at least knows my name. And and it has helped my students and my next generation students a lot. I was able to send many of them outside of India to get further training, further this and all, and they are all doing very well. I'm so very happy that today one of my students is actually the director of the Transplant Immunology Center in the University of California, San Francisco, and the world recognizes him a lot. They take his word as one of those. He was a student of mine from 1992 to 98, or 1990 to 98. He spent 8 years with me, Similar to everybody else, I think most of my students have done very well. That is the other fulfilling, that one has. Students are like your children. These are your academic children. And it becomes your responsibility to make sure that you remove any hurdles that they might have in their career, or mentor them from time to time. बीच बीच में डांटना भी चाहिए, डांटते भी रहे हैं. And that has been a great experience as well. And today I feel so very happy when all of them come around. I just turned 75 in November, and they all celebrated it over brilliant lunch at the India International Center. And again, that was the most fulfilling experience. This is what you earn in life. I may not be a very rich man, but I'm rich academically, and I'm rich because my students are doing very well.
That's so kind of you, sir, and I equally feel very, very privileged to have got this opportunity to speak with you. But I personally would like to ask you, and I'm sure every listener would also want to ask you, since we are listening to an eminent figure who has won the highest award in the field of science, tell us a little more about the award and your own personal feeling about winning this highest award in the field of science.
So, the highest award at that time was Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, which is given by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Although since last year it has been discontinued. It's not discontinued, it's given a new sort of shape. That is given to scientists below 45 years of age, and I got it at a rather young age of 41, and had no idea, no previous guidance on that. Again, when it goes to the expert group, the expert group also sees you. These are people of eminence who sort of evaluate your work. So that was very fulfilling. That time, of course, the award prize was 50,000 rupees. Now it has gone up to 5 lakhs or something. So that gives you a kick. But every award that I got in life is not just the highest award like this, but any award. You become a fellow of any academy, you get honored by the Indian Council of Medical Research. So I got the highest award of the ICMR as well, highest award of the Department of Biotechnology, or any other scientific organization in the country. And even I think more gratifying was when I was getting recognized internationally. The president of France and I got a letter from Jacques Chirac at that time in 2002 that they elected me as the Cavalier of the National Order of Merit. I was once approached by the Iranian research organization to send my CV, and the very next month it came that you have been given the Khwarizmi International Award. Khwarizmi is like our Aryabhat. And the fellow of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, one very important recognition which came just last year. A few months ago, I got an invitation from the World Science Forum, WSF, which is the highest science forum which is done by UNESCO. And they do their scientific conferences once in 2 years, mostly in Budapest. And I got the invitation to be a speaker there, to be a keynote speaker. I don't know who would have recommended my name. Somebody would have, definitely. And they pay you your business class fare and all that. You're speaking to a sort of a group of top scientists around the world. And they were very... And now, as I said, when I've been in INSA, my focus has been turning into science policy and science diplomacy there. And I'm focusing particularly on two aspects, the climate change and the antimicrobial resistance. This is the twin challenge that we have. And twin challenge, and it's impacting health. Maybe next particular talk can be on these two issues. And I think there's a lot for the common man to learn about and how we can avoid this, because these are becoming big challenges for us. The global warming, the climate change, antimicrobial resistance, the people taking antibiotics, left and right, not just in India but everywhere else, all the more in the LMIC, the low and the middle income countries. It's becoming a challenge. So I gave a talk at the World Science Forum on that, and that was very much appreciated, and I felt very happy about that. The other is the International Science Council. It's the largest science council of the world. They elected me as their fellow, and they said you can use the title FISC. So those are big awards. I got the honorary fellowship of the Royal College of Physicians of UK. So these are actually big awards, but every big award that comes, it comes with a lot of responsibility that you have to now do even better. Achieving that is difficult, but to stay on that line is even more difficult there. So I'm as busy as I used to be earlier, maybe even more busy now. I enjoy my academic pursuit. I enjoy mentoring my students. I don't do myself active laboratory bench work, but bench work is done by my young fellows. I only guide them what to do, and this is all going on very well. I wish I can continue to do that until the last day of my life here on this earth.
Thank you so much, sir. And on behalf of all the listeners, on behalf of Vigyan Ki Awaaz, we thank you from the core of our heart for giving us your valuable time. But we have two last questions to ask you. Firstly, your message to the young generation to take science as their career and contribute it to the nation, and a little about STEM for understanding for the listeners.
Yeah, I think science is a fantastic field. Everybody should aim to get into science field. Science is, you get, of course you get paid for it, but you get recognition, but more than the recognition, the kick that you get of finding something new, or developing something new, establishing something new, advancing current knowledge in that particular field is something unique. You have to be a disciplined student all your life. You have to be at the edge of your seat all your life, and listen to others, and then looking at the needs and requirements of the country that you live in, The needs and requirements vary from one country to the other. You need to devise your own systems and all that. I would encourage everybody to take up science. Science careers are fantastic. Whether you want to become health sciences or life sciences or physics and chemistry, I thought the best of the students should actually take up physics and chemistry. The doctor can be next level, but you need your brightest of the lot to go to physics and chemistry and create all those Chandrayans and things of that sort. I would say that if you do decide to come to science, please make sure that you have commitment, you have honesty, and then you're not coming here only for the sake of money. There's no money in science. You will, of course, not die of hunger. You will get duly paid. You may not become super rich. You don't need to become that rich. The richness is your academic excellence. That should be the aim, and we need more and more bright people. We need all these youngsters. It is always a joy for me to go to any college, any school, to interact with students, and I enjoy that. I keep going, and I will want to go even more, interact with youngsters, encourage them to take up science as careers.
Thank you so much, sir. We would also request you to please explain it in your own style, in an elaborate way, about STEM.
Yeah, but that's all part of the science that I'm talking about. You have to take a specific field. The youngster must take a specific, whatever interests you. Technology is on the rise. I think today's science and technology, S&T has always been the weather thing, whether you talk in life sciences, health sciences, or engineering sciences. Technology is the goal. And I think today's scientists, I will want that scientist to become a translational scientist. Whatever you do, you should have a goal. I want to develop so-and-so thing. Something that is not there in India, or you can improve on something that is already being done. Because now you have better tools than my generation had. You have the AI coming into science, and every field of science is getting influenced by the AI and the ML, machine learning. So, and I would encourage you, Varsha, you continue to do this kind of podcasts. Let people, it's good to let the younger generation and everybody else know about the kind of things that are being done in India. After all, none of these came from the moon. All of us had to work over here. And nobody is going to come for you and do things for you. It is your own next generation who has to establish all of these things. And I'm very happy that you are spreading the knowledge about science, about STEMs to all over India. And today I've spoken in English, but we could even do a seminar like this, a podcast like this for people who may not be very conversant with English. Even in Hindi, talk to people, encourage them to understand the meaning of science and the role that science can play in their societal growth.
Thank you so much, sir. My very last question to you is your own views and good wishes for this podcast series, Vigyan Ki Awaaz.
To tell you the truth, I had no idea about this Vigyan Ki Awaaz. You actually educated me, and I immediately came forward and said, let's talk about it. And I think I will say that this Vigyan Ki Awaaz should go to each nook and corner of this country. Please make sure that it also goes to the northeast part of India, goes to Kashmir. I have been always very impressed with the brightness of the students in J&K. I go to Actually, quite often, actually, my wife belongs from there, and students are all very bright, and they, and in INSA we have started a scheme, started a process whereby we are encouraging our fellows to go to the rural areas, go and interact with students in the schools of rural side, rural India. So you could also do similar kind of thing, rural part of the world, a neglected part of the world, neglected part of the country, and go and tell them about the Vigyan Ki Awaaz. And people need to, the message of science must go to all corners of the country, and towards that, to that extent, you are doing extremely well.
Thank you so much, sir. And I feel extremely blessed again to have been awarded with this opportunity to have interacted with you. But yes, I think we wrap up the program today with a promise that we will meet very, very soon, and we will take stories of science ahead.
Yes, sure.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It has been a blessing to get in touch with you.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you and your audience.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. You have a very good day. And dear listeners, we take a break at this enriching conversation. Catch more insightful discussions about science and the world of science. In the next episode, we shall bring to you more interesting discussions, his colorful contributions in the field of science, and his passion for the field. Until and up to we meet in the next episode, please take care of yourself, stay healthy, and keep listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz. Vigyan Ki Awaaz, a podcast series to popularize STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine.
आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़